Hello, everyone. This is Timothy Chemo Bryan, your head instigator for Create Art Podcast, where I bring my over 20 years in art and in education to help you create more than you consume. Hey, Alicia, I see you over there on good old Instagram. I hope all is doing well. And I just want to say, folks, it's been a little while since I have been here. I've been doing a lot of, I've been doing a lot of work lately. As you know, April was National Poetry Writing Month, and I went ahead and knocked that bad boy out. And now here we are in June. It's amazing. We're like halfway done with the month already. And it's always amazing to me. Tonight, we're going to talk about, thoughts on writers. And the first thing that people usually know about me is that I write. And I've been writing for a long time. I've been writing poetry since, 1988. When we go and use the 19s. Instead of the 20s in the beginning. It's I never thought I'd see the day in my checkbook where it would be, all the be starting off with 20 instead of 19. But it happened. I'm getting old. But I've been writing poetry since 1988. Stories, all kinds of things. I write for the podcast, which is at createartpodcast.com. And I also have a YouTube, which you'll be on that as well. You can go ahead, except for I haven't connected Instagram yet with the Facebook and all that kind of, and the Twitter, as I like to call it, the Twitter. But anyways, I want to talk to you tonight about writing and why it's important in developing your artistic practice. By the way, Alicia, I'm feeling much better today. I had to take a sick day from work here today, but I am doing much better. That's what happens when you have twins, because they take a lot out of you and a lot of other things. But here I am, ready to rock it out and go with it. So why is writing important? Well, let's think about it for a second. In every discipline in art, you're going to do some writing, or you should do some writing. Let's say you're a painter and you're like, I'm painting, I'm throwing oils. I'm on canvas. Well, you can't always be there to explain your work. So if somebody's looking at it and they're like, okay, well, this is a big wall of red, which is actually I'm looking at right now, a big wall of red with a lot of pictures up on the wall. People aren't going to understand that. Like, you're looking at a Rothko, let's say, and you see a wash of blue. Now, for people that are into Rothko, they know what that wash of blue means. And I've seen some Rothkos myself, and it brings you to tears. Well, it brings me to tears when I look at it. But that's because there's stuff that he wrote, and there's stuff that's been written about him that helped explain it. Oh, and I see Mr. Ken Reed over on the Instagram too. Hey, Mr. Ken Reed. We're talking about writing here today. And Ken Reed is one of those folks that, well, he dabbles in the film world. Guess what? Film has writers. It really does. So writing, anybody can get into it. There's no real barrier of entry into writing. You need something to write with, and you need something to write on, and that's it. I remember I watched the movie Quills, and that's about Marquis de Sade with Jeffrey Rush playing the Marquis de Sade. Go figure. Go check out that film. So, he gets imprisoned, and, they're banning his works left and right. What does he do? He takes a hunk of poo and he writes it on his linens. And then he gets that shipped out, because he gets his linens shipped out because he's royalty and whatnot, or he's a part of the royalty. And people read his stuff. Now, a lot of that was, dramatized and fictionalized and all that kind of good stuff. But that shows you the intensity that writing can have. That a lot of us that call ourselves writers, and I do call myself a writer. Overall, I'm an artist, but my first thing is writing. Music is a close second. Theater, podcasting's in there somewhere. Being a dad is a art form. Let me tell you, being a dad is an art form. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Being a parent is an art form. So, when we're looking at people like Marquis de Sade writing with his own feces, that's amazing. That is amazing. Ken, not only have you seen Salo, which is also about Marquis de Sade, the 120 Days of Sodom, but go see Quills if you haven't seen Quills. Fantastic movie. That was written by somebody. If you think about it, we've been writing since, well, here's the thing. My girls are turning 7 tomorrow, which is, it makes me a very proud papa. But we are writing at a young age. My girls, obviously they know they are in school and they're writing. They're having these kids in kindergarten and first grade. They're going to second grade now. Yes, they're having to write sentences. Now I don't remember when I began writing, but I remember that I was always intrigued by the written word, whether it be reading the Bible, whether it be reading kid stories, what have you. Yes. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for checking out Quills. I think you'll really enjoy it. But we're writing at such a young age. And it's a wonderful thing to write at that age. It really is a wonderful thing to write at 5, 6, 7. Just recently, I brought out something that I was doing in like second or third grade, where we had to write a book. Write a book, book, and it was just 5-10 pages long, and we had to put pictures with the words that we were doing, which was a fantastic thing. Fantastic thing for any writer to do is if you have imagery to go with what you're writing. That's extra. That's icing on the cake. That is definitely icing on the cake. And the reason I bring that up is I just recently got a copy of Joel Chacio's latest book of poetry. And in his book of poetry, which I'm actually going to be sending him all my books of poetry because his stuff is really good. He used to podcast, did a lot of stuff on Instagram. During the early days of the pandemic, he would do an Instagram live like I'm doing here now. And he would have people, send in their poetry, and he would read their poetry and comment on it, which I thought that was a fantastic thing. And he would do that every single day. And then he kind of cut it down to Monday through Friday because it was a lot of work, and he would rebroadcast on his podcast. But now this guy, he lives up in Maryland. I've never seen him face to face, but I was really connected with the poetry that he was reading. I sent him a couple of things of my stuff. He read it. I've had him on the podcast back when it was KDOI podcast, before Create Art podcast. And, that's just a connection that you can have with another human being. With this whole writing thing, that's the power that writing has for all of us. So, I'm the reason I started the Create Art podcast is because I saw a lot of people going, "Ooh, art! I can't do art. I can't do art." Well, you can. You can write. You already know how to write, and you should write. And you should write as much as you can. One thing that I do to keep my writing in tip-top form is I do a weekly diary for my daughters that they're going to get a copy of when they turn 18. Now, I've been doing that for 3 years, just about 3 years now, where I go in there every Friday and I write a page or two. Now, it's not a Russian romance novel, which folks at work know I write Russian romance novels. Whenever I do an email or whenever I'm doing a report, and they're always like, "Tim, you can cut that down. We're not going to read all of this." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's all important there." But they still, they're still like, "Tim, come on now, come on." So I like to, I like to write. What can I say? What can I say? I love to write. So I just want to encourage all of you out there to go ahead and pick up a pen and just start writing. I mean, look at the past, 15 months that we've had. Look at the past 15 months that we've had. That should give you a ton of stuff to write about that way. And I'm going to broach the topic of writer's block because I don't believe in it. I really don't. But you look at the stuff that's happened to us in the last 15 months. I mean, you can't write a Hollywood script like that. You just can't. That's just amazing what has been happening to us. It's sad. It's tragic. It's also it's heartening to see a lot of people so giving of themselves, and going out there for their neighbors and for their friends. And you have the good with the bad, but there's so much to write about. If for nothing else, write about where you're at. Write about the town that you're in, or the house, or the apartment, or the studio, or the tent that you're living in. Write about that, because the world needs to hear what you have to say. They really do need to hear what you have to say. Now, let's say you want to, I don't know, get on this whole podcast thing. Well, guess what? It's a good thing to write. It's a good thing to write out your script ahead of time, what you want to talk about. It's a good thing to do that. I would recommend it. Just kind of winging it. But, writing it out and having it for posterity. That way you can look at it later on. I know for me, my girls are going to get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of audio of me talking about topics like this. And that way they will have, after at one point, I know, crazy thought here, folks, crazy thought here. I'm not going to be around. I'm not going to be having a great time on, rotating around the sun on this rock. I won't be here. And I'm okay with that. But I want them to always have something of me, so that they are always reminded of that. Why is that? Good question. Why is that, Tim? Well, I'm going to get a little personal here. So, my mom passed away in 2002, and our family was a big one with taking Polaroids and taking pictures and all that kind of good stuff. Kind of cut off contact with my dad a few years ago. He's got all these pictures, and he's got all this stuff, and I can't look at it. Even before I cut off contact with my dad, can't look at it. He was like, I'm not, I don't want to send it to you. And I'm like, dude, I will pay for the shipping, and I'll scan it and give it to all my brothers and sisters and all that kind of good stuff, and then ship it right back to you. No. Well, I don't have that now. All those memories, they're in my head, but as we get older, we forget things. That's why I have my name tattooed on my arm. No, that's not my name. That's my name over there. There it is over there. We forget things. And when we look through this stuff, through these memories, through the past, we can remember things, and we can kind of go back to that point in our lives. And that's what writing does for us too. It helps us to remember the good times and the bad times. So I really want to encourage you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to challenge you. At least start up a diary, a journal, something, for the next generation, because that's how we learn. We got to see what worked and what didn't work from previous generations, so that we can make the world a better place. Because I don't really think I could be wrong. I don't know everybody watching this, but I don't think that anybody watching this wants the world to be in a worse place. I really don't. Even Kyle Bondo does not want this world to be a worse place. Of course, Kyle Bondo doesn't want this world to be a worse place. He's a good guy. I just pick on him because I can. But I don't think anyone here wants the world to be a worse place. I think we all want to leave this world a better place. And one way we can do that is to write that down, write what we learned, and put that to the future. Put that to the future. So let's go ahead. Love you, Kyle Bondo. Let's, go ahead and do that. You may go, well, nobody's going to read it. I am going to beg to differ with you. Somebody's going to read it. You're going to read it. You right there. You're going to read your works. I go back to my stuff. Now, some of it is very cringeworthy. Some of it is very, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that. When I was first writing poetry, I would write 4-line stanzas, 4 stanzas, because that's, just the kick that I was on. And I cringe at that. Some of it even rhymed. Oh God, rhyming poetry. Oh God, rhyming poetry. Oh. But I can go back and see the growth that I've had. And that's another thing too. You're going to see the growth that you have, that you've gone through. I am definitely not the person that I was a year ago. Thank God. Thank God for Zoloft. I'm just saying, folks, let's get some likes for some Zoloft, folks. But I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. I'm not the same person. I'm not the same kid that started writing poetry in 1988 versus the poetry that I write today. Not the same person. I see growth. And when you have that, they call it imposter syndrome. You're like, yeah, nobody likes my stuff. No. You can go back and go, man, I really sucked. I really did suck. And you can go, hey, I'm a lot better than I was. So that will help you out with your imposter syndrome. If you're suffering from imposter syndrome, a lot of times I'm like, man, nobody's listening to my podcast. Well, that's wrong. People are listening to the podcast. I may not have, Seth Rogen, having thousands of people listening to his podcast, or Joe Rogan, Seth Godin, not Seth Rogen, Joe Rogan, where, millions and millions of people listen to his podcast. I'm not going to have that. And I'm okay with that, because I remember back when I first started podcasting and it was not really good. And this is the time before that I hooked up with Ken Reed over here on Instagram, and did my show with him. That stuff is hilarious. I listen through that stuff and, I crack up and cry and pee a little bit, in my chair. That's why I've got a new chair, folks. Anyhow, we look back at that stuff and we see the growth and we see our maturity, our evolution. And we can also look back at that and see what's going on in our lives and the things that affected us. So definitely keep that record for yourself. Now, I want to talk one thing about writer's block. I promised you I'd talk about writer's block, and I want to talk about that right now because it's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. I'm going to steal it from Seth Godin right here, right now. Good artists steal. Your plumber doesn't have plumber's block, do they? Now, they have plumber's crack, yes, But do they have plumber's block? No. They go in, they do their job. And my job is to write. I enjoy writing. I love writing. That's what I do. That's what, when I was working for the Army, they were like, hey, you know what? We had our soldiers kind of tell us what's going on in their lives and, what's going on in their spiritual life. And everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go to Bible study. I'm like, not for me. I turn on the record player and listen to some jazz, or I'll sit and I'll write, and I'll write out the feelings. I'll write out what's going on. And, when I do that, I can have a persona of it. So it can be me. It may not be me. It could be what I would like to be. It could be, something that is, makes me be a more rugged person, or a more masculine person, whatever I'm trying to do, whatever game I'm trying to play. I can do that when I write. When people say that they have writer's block, I kind of laugh at that, because there's so much out there to write. There is so much out there to write. You're the only one that is going to make that rule for yourself. You're it. I'm not going to make the rules for you. I don't want to make the rules for you, because I don't want you to make the rules for me. Okay. I'm going to write what I'm going to write, and I'm going to enjoy it. And if nobody else enjoys it, that's okay. That is okay. I enjoy it. I kid all the time. I say, I paint like a 4-year-old on crack, and I really do. I do paint like a 4-year-old on crack. Oh my God. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because I painted it. I did that. Same thing with writing. You did that. You wrote that down. You put it out into the world. You, for lack of a better term, bless the world with your perspective. And we need that in this world. We need your perspective, because I don't have all the answers. I mean, I've got no hair, but I don't have all the answers. But I think that if we all get together, we can all find the answers for whatever ails us in this world. And, right now we got a lot of, stuff that is ailing us in this world right now. And so I think if we all just kind of sat back and write what we know, write what's around us, write our perspective of it, and then we read other people's perspective of it, then maybe we can get a little bit more understanding of what's going on. Maybe we can get a clearer picture of what's going on in the world. So how do you start this writing thing? How do you start it? Well, let's see here. This is called a pen. This is it's made by Tool, T-U-L. You can get it at Office Depot or Office Max. You can get a pack of 4 of these for $17. They're fantastic pens. I love these. Oh my gosh, I love these pens. They write so nicely. Get a piece of paper. I got some paper over there. Get a notebook or something like that. And you just go at it. You just go at it. And then you make that commitment to yourself to go ahead and do it. Do you need to do it every day? No, you don't need to do it every day. But go back to it. Continue to write. Continue to write. It's going to get better. Now, Kyle would like to know, how do you write endings? And that's a fantastic question, Kyle. How do you write endings? You stop writing. you stop writing. You end it. You're done. You never end. You never end, Kyle. I write Russian romance novels. I never end. 1,000 pages, nothing. Not a problem. I'm kidding. I don't write that much. But how do you do ending? How do you write endings? Sometimes you need to just put the page away for a while and do whatever you do. I know Kyle likes to hike. So go hike and then let it come to you while you're hiking. That's the beauty about writing, is that you can put it down for a minute or for an hour or for a year or for 10 years. You can put it down and always go back to it. You can always go back to it. But when you're putting it down, have it in the back of your head, because it's always there. It's always in the back of your head about what you're writing. If you're writing a story, you're writing a poem, you're writing a podcast, you're writing a film. It's always going to be in the back of your head. And even if it's a horrible ending, the beauty of that is you can edit it later if you want to. If that's your goal, if your goal is to make it into a story, a short story, a novel, an ode, a super long epic poem, you can just write the ending and then edit it later. Okay. The whole thing with the writer's block is, people go, oh, I've reached an end to it, and I'm done. No, you're not. No, you're not. You may be done with it right now, but you're never done with it. So let me talk to you about, some more of the benefits about writing here. And a little shameless self-promotion on that. I have 4 books of poetry out, and that are self-published, and I have a self-published short story for my daughters. Okay. That provides me with a lot of pride. And not a lot of the people that I know can go, hey, I've got 4 books of poetry out there. But the thing of it is it doesn't make me go, oh, I'm better than everybody. No. It's just something that I've done. Kyle was talking about the endings things. Okay, that's my ending right there. But then I look at those books of poetry and I go, yeah, I need to edit that a little bit better. Just need to edit that a little bit better. Let me see what Ken is saying here. Realize that only blogs myself and my laziness. We need talks brother. Oh, yes. Ken, I'm going to tell you right now, these blocks, they are ourselves. We put these blocks up there. Okay, we do it. We are our worst critics. We are our hardest taskmasters. But, I'm an artist. I know Ken's an artist. I know Kyle's an artist. We're tough on ourselves. We are really tough on ourselves. Guess what? You don't need to be. You want to have a certain level of your work. You want to see your work grow. You want to see your work mature. Yes, absolutely. These are all great things. But if you don't write, if you don't put it down on a piece of paper, or if you don't put it onto a laptop, or you don't skywrite it with an airplane, all right, it ain't going to get done. It ain't going to happen. And that's, who do you have to blame for? Yourself. Because I challenge you right now. What's stopping you from writing? What's stopping you from doing your stuff? Writing is the coolest thing because, all right, with theater, when I did theater, you need a director, you need actors, you need set, you need costumes, all that kind of jazz. With music, you need other musicians. You need an audience. You need a guitar, a bass, what have you. With other art forms, you need other things externally. With writing, pen, paper, done. And it's super cheap. Go get you a pack of a 10-pack of Bic pens and grab some napkins and go at it. All right. Kyle is asking how many drafts until you're done. I love Mr. Kyle Bondo. If you're watching me on good old Facebook, Kyle Bondo is the head guy over there at gagglepod.com. Gagglepod, helping creatives tell their stories since 2016. So go to Gagglepod. You'll see a lot of cool podcasts and a lot of great ideas on how to podcast. But again, how many drafts until you're done? How many drafts do you want to do? How deep into the weeds do you want to go? How deep do you want to go? How deep is your love? I'm getting a Bee Gees vibe on this. How deep is your love? I really need to know. 'Cause I'm living in a world of fools, bringing us down. Now, think about that. Somebody had to write those lyrics. Okay. Somebody had to write those lyrics. I don't know if it was the Bee Gees or what. I think it was, or they had a team writing them, but somebody had to write that. Somebody wrote Sharknado and it sold and it made, somebody a lot of money. How many, but let's get back to how many drafts until you're done. Your process will dictate that. Your process will dictate that. Your process will dictate that. So if you really want to go in there and scrub up your writing and all that kind of good stuff, you're going to have a bunch of drafts. For my writing, I don't do a lot of drafts. Now, do I do writing professionally? No, I do not. But I know somebody that does. Chris Jones at Chris Jones Inc. He is a professional writer. He writes for magazines out in Williamsburg, Virginia. He's also the head guy at for Fredericksburg Independent Book Festival every year. Obviously, with COVID, they had to kind of cancel their stuff, but hopefully they'll be back soon. But and he also coaches other people on how to write. Am I going to tell you how to write? No. I'm not going to tell you how to write. Am I going to tell you how many drafts until you're done? You're done when you're done. And you will know when you're done. Now, if you keep on doing drafts and 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 nothing gets put out to the public, then you've done too many drafts. Then you're playing the game of writer's block, except in reverse. You're doing all those editing to avoid maybe not Kyle, because I know Kyle puts out some good stuff with his podcast, not Merchants of Dirt, but I love Merchants of Dirt. But he, Not Easily Squished, War Yankee. These are some great podcasts to take a listen to. But if it impacts your ability to put it out to the public, then yeah, you're playing a game and you don't need to play that game. Okay. Is it going to be perfect? No. Who's the perfect person here? I'm not. Look at me. Come on. I am not the perfect, I'm not the perfect guy. All right. It's not going to be perfect out there. It's going to be the best you can do at that time with the information that you have, with the education that you have, with the passion that you have. It's going to be put out the best that you can do at that time. And then you'll be okay. Some people are going to get it. Some people are not going to get it. And the people that don't get it, it's not for them. Again, I'm stealing that from Seth Godin. Seth, he's got a lot of stuff to steal from. And that's one of the things that I steal from him. Some people, it's not for them. And that's okay. My painting like a 4-year-old crack is not for everybody. And that's okay. I'm good with it. Does it provide me with some pleasure? Absolutely, it does. Does somebody look at it and go, hey, that's pretty cool? Yes, they do. And God bless them. And they probably need to take more crack. But probably need to take less crack, actually. But I just want to encourage everybody out there to go ahead, pick up the pen, and write something. If you want to send it on in to me, by all means, go for it. I do have multiple email addresses. You can send it to createartpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send it to Timothy@createartpodcast.com. You can send it to those places. And if you want me to read it, I'll be happy to read it and tell you what I think about it. But keep in mind, I may not be your target audience. Okay. I may not be, and that's okay. It's not for me. I may be your target audience, in which case, oh man, you're in a world of trouble. But that's okay too. All right. Well, I am running at about 9:30 right here, a little after 9:30. And this boy has to Tim's side hustle, editor and chief. So I want to thank you all for popping in tonight on the Facebook, on the Instagram. I want to thank you all for listening to the old man, just shoot off his mouth a little bit and talk about writing. This will also be on my YouTube page, my YouTube channel, which is Create Art Podcast. You can go check out my other talks that I do there. Apologize for the other months. I was a little bit tired. Got some news that some of you that know me really well know what that news is. So my energy levels were a little bit low, so I was using that as an excuse to be a little bit lazy. However, I'm back. I'm doing these live talks for you, and they're also going to be on YouTube after, probably tomorrow. I'll post it up on YouTube tomorrow. And also, keep on listening to Create Art Podcast. We have a really good one coming out this Saturday. A really good episode from back in the KDOI days. It'll be a rebroadcast. And then in 2 weeks after that, we'll have a brand new episode of Create Art Podcast. So, folks, as I'd like to close out, I want to encourage you to write. You write for yourself. I want you to create art. Create more than you can consume, tame that inner critic, and make some art for somebody that you love, yourself. I will be doing this again next month, so I'll see you next month. You'll also be hearing my voice on Saturday on the podcast, and then 2 Saturdays after that, we'll have a new episode. Have a good night, everyone, and thanks for joining me tonight.